Crit status active. Orbital status standby.
What is up, Guardians? This is Cosmodrome Radio, broadcasting on all frequencies from here all the way to Savathun's Throne World. We are on all wavelengths, whether it be Hive communication, whether it be Vex Milk. You can get us on every device, even your calculator. Because if you go to cosmodromeradio.com, you are able to find all, like every podcast platform we are on, whether it be Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast. There's all kinds of different things that you can find us on. We're going to be getting on YouTube soon for people who like YouTube, but we're also on like Amazon Music and Audible if you do that kind of thing. So definitely check us out for that. My name is James, aka Panda the Paladin. We are here for an interesting show this evening. Thankfully, Prismatic was able to join us this evening after some internet trouble. How you doing this evening?
I'm good. Just, munching on some dinner. Glad to have internet back.
And then we have my fellow Titan, the man who has been sweating his dick off just as much as me, getting ready for raid day. We have Tola Nator. How you doing?
Been playing on my Hunter nonstop. At this point, just call me a Hunter main.
Stop it. Don't do that. Stop that. You cannot betray me like that.
2 out of 3 characters done. I am almost ready for day 1.
See, over here saying you're done. I'm over here like spacing it out on all 3 characters. That way I don't burn myself out. You're like, I'm done with 1. Man, you crazy.
No, I just literally, when we were doing our clan bounties, I would grab Gambit bounties or Crucible bounties.
That makes sense.
So I could knock some stuff out and have a few while I was sitting there. And then it's like, okay. And then I just went around, did all my world bounties. And here we are. Already done with my Warlock. Halfway done with my Hunter and my Titan.
Fair enough. Don't forget, folks, that you can follow us on Twitter at Cosmodrome Radio. That's where you can see where all the new episodes go live. You can follow me, Tolander, and Prismatic on TikTok. Those links will be in the description as well.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be able to see it on our host profile on CosmodromeRadio.com. So make sure you check that out. Basically, we're just trying to get you to check out this show, and we're working on some really cool things in the future. That way, you can interact with us better. But if you have a question that you want answered on the podcast, if you have like an idea for a show, like let us know. Like
DM us on Twitter.
DM us on Twitter.
Add
tweet
us on
us,
Twitter.
like freaking comment on our the different TikToks we make about the show. Like I made a fun one before work of like one of my mutuals asked me what Titan arms would I want over everything else, like for the rest of like Destiny's history. I was like, no backup plans is all I need. Like,
is it any exotic or just exotic arms?
The question posed was out of any exotic arm, you can only have 1 pair of exotic arms from now to the end of D2's lifespan. Which one would you choose? And I was like, all I need is no backup plans. I don't care if shotguns are ass in PvP or PvE. I will always use no backup plans because I am the best Titan I can be when you give me a shotgun and you give me my buff arms. That's the end of the line.
You know what? I'm gonna go with a ice manifold, ice fall mantle.
Fair enough. I mean, like you can't jump
That
around with them, but all right.
That or
Ashen Wake's pretty cool.
Fun.
Yeah, Ashen Wakes are pretty fun.
Warlock, I gotta go with Osteomancy gloves because that just turns stasis into fucking easy money.
Prismatic, is there a pair of Hunter arms you want above all else?
About arms only?
Yeah, because he asked the question for per exotic, but for the video he made about exotic arms, like if there's 1 pair of exotic arms that you can only use till the end of D2's lifespan, which exotic arms would you pick?
I don't know that I have one. I've heard the new Caliban exotic is good, but I don't have it yet, so I haven't really got to play with it.
Okay.
I believe there's a set of arms.
It's funny you say that because today is hand day in the Lost Sector.
Oh, I've hated all
Yep.
the lost sectors for this season, so that's
To be fair, like today is the worst one because for some reason Bungie keeps thinking that K1 Revelation is a good idea as a exotic Lost Sector when it's not.
Painful.
I was waiting, hoping
painful.
that they would rotate to Europa, but it seems to be the same like 5 lost sectors. So I'm like, oh, I guess this is just
Well, like
going to be a
what
next
was it
season
last week?
endeavor.
Well, like last week there was a thing on Arm Day where like there was an EDZ Lost Sector and you only needed to kill one unstoppable for it to count as a platinum.
I don't know
So,
which
like,
one that is, but the ones that I have tried, I have 2 barrier champions standing on top of each other, murking me from across the map. So
That's fair.
Easiest way to help with that is just throw especially this season. Outbreak Perfected
Outbreak Perfected, man. Like
versus barrier champions is the way to go.
It destroys because if you're hitting that crit spot with and it procs the nanites, and the nanites do the damage to the barrier shield as well. So you just drain their life force. It's the funniest thing.
And put on Revitalizing Blast with that. Extra
It's
damage.
just nutty.
Solar
So
Fulmination, more damage.
It's nutty. So, but before we get into the twab, the first thing that I want to do is I need to hop in Paul Tassie's bandwagon for a minute because
Panda's got some blues.
That's so corny. I am so sick of blue armor in Destiny.
And blue weapons in general.
Like blue weapons and a blue armor. And what's funny is Bungie said during a twab last season that they were going to make it this season once you hit power cap, which was or soft cap rather, which is 1560 this season.
Yep.
You would see a less amount of blue items in as pickups. However, they lied because literally, I kid you not, last week when we were doing double reward GMs, I would do 1 GM and my vault would be full of blues. And it was ridiculous. Like, yeah, there was like, I had a spot for prisms and a spot for enhanced ascended shards. But other than that, it would literally be like any hotheads I would get, which is like 2 per round, and then all blues. And it's just like, yo, I understand that as a community, we figured out how to manipulate the blue armor to be able to farm enhancement cores, which for anybody that doesn't know, if you level up a piece of blue armor from level 5 to level 8, you get 3 free enhancement cores when you dismantle it. So it's definitely worth your time. But regardless of that, there comes a point where it's too much. Like, we can pull those blues from our collections to farm those enhancement cores if we want to. Like the amount of blues that we're constantly getting, to the point that it reaches a level of, if we don't take these blues and dismantle them, they start pushing high level stuff out of the postmaster, like ascended shards, like enhancement prisms, and that is ridiculous. And there's been people like on Twitter and stuff like that saying, "Oh, you just need to do better management of your stuff," and yada yada. Like, no, because there is a specific limit of how many ascended shards you can hold and a certain amount of enhanced prisms and enhancement cores. So if you hit those caps and you don't have armor that you can invest that stuff into, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It just floods your postmaster, and it's just like, gotta go in, dismantle. I mean, I'll go get a few free cores while I'm at it. That's about it.
And it's just it's ridiculous.
I wish there was a way to lock things in to your postmaster so that blues and lesser value things would be gotten rid of before it gets rid of weapons or stuff that you have in there, because
Blue.
Lost so many weapons to.
I wanted to like rant about that for a second because it's just, I'm to the point where I just can't stand it. Like, and especially when I'm getting blue weapons, when almost all of my stuff, even almost all of my heavy weapons now, because of last weekend, are all 1570. Like, almost all of my main weapons are 1560 or higher, and all the blue weapons and armor drop at 1560. So why are you still giving me all of these blues when they mean nothing? Like, there's a rare chance on a blue moon where I need to infuse something because I pull it from collections. Like, I remember I pulled Rat King from collections because freaking one of our clan mates wanted to use Rat King in
That
Crucible,
was
and I
a
was like,
funny
this is
time.
this is a dumb idea, but I'll do it anyway. And I pulled it from collections, and I need to infuse it, so I was like, all right, cool, I'll use it real quick, it's fine. But like, other than that, it's such a rarity that I need a blue weapon at soft cap that I'm just like, Bungie, work with me here, like
Bungie.
please. Like there should be like Prismatic hit the nail on the head. I'm just like, let me lock certain things that way they don't get like deleted, and then the rest of it can just funnel out. I don't care. It's fine. Like just go away.
And at the same point, I would say that Umbrals are dropping like crazy for me.
Oh
Yeah, but sometimes they're just dry and non-existent, which is even funnier.
Right. At one point, I was storing 15 in my Postmaster. Just because I'm like, I don't have the currency to go spend it, because I would go grind out currency, spend it, go grind out more. But it's still like, I had 15 Umbrals just chilling in my Postmaster, 10 on me. And I was just like, all right.
I hate to see it.
So after that little rant of ours, the next big thing is the twab, because we had a bunch of stuff planned. We were going to do the end of the season talk, which we'll probably do next week. But the big thing that dropped was the twab this week, and Bungie was just like, "Hey, you know how you have all this stuff planned? We're gonna drop this on your head." And I'm what?
You know how these past few twabs have been kind of like scarce and shit?
Mhm.
Yeah, this time we're getting the because this whole twab is about the sandbox updates for next season.
Yeah, and hunters, we need to have a conversation.
What?
Because not you, because you're not an abusive omnioculus PvP sweat hunter. You're not a part of this conversation.
Oh, okay.
Like, because like you're not the PvP sweats that got my baby nerfed again. I feel like Uncle Ruckus's mama from the Boondocks, when Uncle Ruckus's dad just smacks him upside the face. Like, did I just get you trying to be something? And he just smacks him upside the head. And I'm like, oh, my baby, please. And I'm just like, bro, like, that's how I feel about Lord of Wolves. Because Lord of Wolves gets the worst rap in Destiny history when it's just trying to exist. And I can pinpoint like when people started to pick it up again. It was during a capture weekend last season. Like I believe the map was one of the EDZ maps, or one of the Cosmodrome maps. And everyone like saw like that it was a capture weekend, so they started using Lord of Wolves in tight quarters because it's a very small map and it's very like isolated. Like so they're over here like trying to use this, and out of nowhere everyone's like, oh, I hate Lord of Wolves all over again. And the thing about it is nothing had changed about the gun from the last time they nerfed it. So now Bungie's over here like, yo, we heard y'all complain so much that not only are we going to nerf Omnioculus in PvP, we're going to nerf Lord of Wolves again, but then kind of give it a PvE buff despite no one using shotguns in PvE. And I'm just like, huh? Like, now to be fair, what they did was reasonable, but at the same time, I'm very much just like, Bungie, why? Like, this is nerf number 4 because people don't understand how this game works. Because people can complain about Lord of Wolves all you want. That gun takes like effort to use. It's not like people are just picking this thing up and just mowing everybody down. Like, you can like because one burst of the gun can kill a guardian, but you have to hit your shots. You can whiff that thing really easily if you're not careful. So, like, they announced in the TWAB in the middle of the weapon changes that are. What's up?
Oh no, I thought you were gonna go over the Lord of Wolves.
Oh, I'm just mentioning about Lord of Wolves, and I'm gonna go back.
Well,
like,
can I interject with the Lord of Wolves changes?
That's what I'm doing. I'm going to like, if you want to talk about Lord of Wolves changes, like I'm upset. So like, if you want to talk about the Lord of Wolves changes, by all means.
So, the first thing they did is they decreased the amount of ammo you start with in PvP. So, instead of 3 shots, you get 2.
Which I can be okay with that because every other shotgun in the game starts with 2 shots. So like that's reasonable, but
puts it back with everybody else.
That's right. Fine.
And then they reduced the amount of shots fired per trigger by half. So it was 10 and now it's 5. when
but that's
Release the
when
Wolves is
that's
active.
when that's when Release the Wolves is active, because currently in the currently it only does 5 shots. That means regardless of what mode it's in, it's only gonna give you 5 shots at one time. So in essence, the only thing different from the main mode to the Release the Wolves mode is that it's a faster shot. So it's like glorified Desperado on a shotgun.
But even then, they reduced the burst delay between the time between bursts by 60%
Yeah.
when Release the Wolves is active.
And then, it's just like, the thing about it was people weren't even using the Release the Wolves mode. They were just using the base version of the shotgun because,
Right,
like,
because that base version of the shotgun, it's a good shotgun.
People weren't using the Release the Wolves mode because they wanted to conserve ammo, because you only get 15 shots, technically 3 normal shotgun shots.
Yeah.
So it's like, now they're like, here now you get 2 regardless of what mode it's in, and I'm kind of like,
I mean, it puts it at baseline with every other shotgun.
I guess.
But now it just feels like what mode it depends on what you feel like using for whatever mode.
I'm just salty, man. It just feels like I'm one of the few people that is a Titan who just uses Lord of Wolves like a savage, and now they're just like, we're gonna nerf it again because people keep complaining. And I think it's mostly because of the fact that people just don't like that it's a burst shotgun, and I'm just like, it's a fallen weapon they made into an exotic. Like, what do you want, bro? It's an alien weapon. Like, it's an exotic for a reason. So I'm just salty.
They also decreased the base damage by 20%. Now it deals 35 damage per shot in the body in PvP, and 44 with Release the Wolves active. But
salty.
hey, if you want to use it in PvE, by all means go for it, because it got a 20% PvE buff damage.
But as anybody will tell you, like, no one's taking a shotgun into high-end PvE. Like, that's
Not really.
what Bungie fails to realize, is that because of how high-end PvE is, unless we're doing like slug method in a raid or something like that, no, unless you make a shotgun champion mod, no one's taking a shotgun into PvE. That's just like now this is a sign for Bungie that we're getting a shotgun champion mod. By all means, I have a comedian adept sitting in my vault waiting for it. Like, we could do this.
Like, I got a heritage sitting in my vault with Rampage and Reconstruction. I'm ready.
Right, like, we could do the damn thing, but like, you need to actually put the effort into making shotguns worth it in PvE. Like, I mean, that's the bottom line.
I have a good Xeno class that I got from Zovalva. I've just been kind of sitting on because I don't have that many good energy shotguns.
So from there, they ended up talking. Well, let me rewind to the original part of the twab, because that I'm done bitching. So not only are we getting a buff to scout rifles again, but it's only a PvE buff. So good on Bungie for clarifying that.
They touched my baby, and I'm not okay with it.
We're gonna get to that.
So all scout rifles, all archetypes got a 10% damage buff to red bars only,
which is good, because honestly, like in high-end content, unless you're shooting a champion, your scout rifle don't mean a whole lot.
No,
I disagree, but whatever.
Oh, you have an opinion? Speak your mind.
Oh no, there's an Aisha's Embrace that I got that I take with me almost everywhere, and I think that thing puts in work.
Aisha's Embrace is one of the best scout rifles in the game.
Right.
And I would argue the next best one is Staccato.
Yeah, Staccato's hitting hard right now.
Staccato's great because it rolls with incandescent, explosive payload, and triple tap.
It's pretty.
I don't know why I always.
I mean, I'm sitting on one in my inventory right now. I'm sitting on one for. I think I might use it one of these next GMs, but it's got next season I'm going to be using this for GMs. Explosive payload and well-rounded, because well-rounded got a buff in this twab.
It really did. The next thing that I'm excited about is that for anybody who is really big on 360 RPM auto rifles, they're getting a buff across the board. Well, so any non-sunset high impact auto rifles are getting their stability stat buff from 6 to 12, which is pretty cool. And then with lightweight bows, they're buffing them a little bit to make their draw time easier and to make their perfect draw, which is when you fully have the drawstring pulled back, even like fully mess up your accuracy or damage if you hold it for longer. Like your window of time is a little bit more forgiving, which I think is pretty cool. Like I have an arsenic bite that's sitting in my vault that would be great for GMs if we get another bow mod.
And then next season, going back to the high impact autos, you have the counter pass, which you can craft.
You have the Herod C, which you can get from Gambit engrams.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely put some work
into the Dire
into
Promise is getting a quick change. It went from 13 zoom for some reason, and they're putting it back to what it should be.
Which is really cool because zoom can change like the whole mess with a gun. Like zoom, like if you mess with a zoom on a gun, it can make it fully meta without even needing to. That's why like multi-mock and Shieras were good for so long because the zoom was just perfect.
And they changed a few weapon zoom. They changed a few different weapon zooms later in the TWAB to match everything with the Callus Mini tool, Mida Mini tool, and to match them.
And from there, like as Toll was saying, they're buffing glaives in a way.
Glaives are getting massive buffs in the next few seasons, and
because they're making it so like that they have interactions now with the chronic grips, feedback fence, and card steeds. And I'm like, yeah, you might actually give me a reason to use feedback fences.
Feedback fence with a glaive?
Well, no, they're saying like if somebody hits you with a glaive while you have feedback fences on, that will proc the explosion.
Mm-hmm. And on top of that,
I'm here for it.
There are 3 craftable glaives that you can go get, and all of them are very good.
That's so imagine me walking around with feedback fences.
I can't get a loop.
I'm kind of thinking next season we're going to get a stasis glaive.
You can't get a lubrated drop?
I can't get a lubrated drop.
Damn.
Gotta go buy it.
I don't.
Well, so you can buy it from Rogue. You don't have to like do anything with it.
I can't. I haven't gotten one to drop at all.
Oh, well, that sucks.
That's why I can't buy it if I haven't gotten
it.
Breach grenades.
Breach grenades.
Breach grenades.
The Titans keep talking over each other.
The Titans are talking over
the
each
hunter
other.
sits to the side and drinks the monster.
The hunter's just watching the Titans talk about stuff and be like, I have an opinion. But continuing with breach grenades, if you like concussion grenades, I don't know why, because blinding grenades did the job and did it much better. And Bungie finally saw that and they're getting rid of concussion grenades. So you
just
now
exile them.
So now if you have anything with a concussion grenade, that's rare.
Mm-hmm.
But blinding grenades are much better. And now you have a better chance at getting blinding nades on grenade launchers now.
Yes.
That can roll with that.
Also, heavy grenade launchers across the board are getting a 10% buff against majors and bosses in PvE, which is funny because in the 12 they go excluding Parasite because Parasite's already busted. But here's the thing. Good. But what I thought was even funnier is that they forgot one thing: anarchy.
Yes.
Oh.
Because if you buff Anarchy back to where it was, that means we go pop off during Arc 3.0, my guy. You're going to see everybody running Anarchy again. You're going to see Spoils run solely for Anarchy again.
So maybe once the new season drops, what we'll do is I want to go into like a testing range because I want to see how the new once we start talking about it, I want to test out what they did the change with DMD. I want to see how that affects it.
Yeah, so that like also what I'm really excited to test is the fact that we're getting not only an origin trait for Dares of Eternity weapons, but they're tweaking the Gambit and Iron Banner origin traits, which they're changing the Gambit one from what it originally did, which was like it would highlight the invader if you shot him and stuff like that. They're changing it to it gives you increased sprint speed on multi kills, which is gonna be nutty. And then the Iron Banner one, they're making it so it doesn't just work in Iron Banner, it works in every mode. And I'm like,
nice.
oh.
But the Gambit one I'm excited for, because now at getting like a borrowed time or a bottom dollar is actually makes sense. It makes sense to like be like, all right, I'm gonna go after this hand cannon, this submachine gun, so I can get those nice. So I can start using the origin trait.
Yeah, so it's gonna be like now if anybody who has like a Reese Walker or anything like that with Skulking Wolf next season, you're about to see motherfuckers just coming out the woodwork with no radar. You're gonna be like, oh no. Ambitious Assassin weirdly is getting a buff, but only for kinetic weapons or primary weapons, which I find very odd because they were like, hey, Ambitious Assassin kind of fell off because there's perks like Overflow that outshine it, but we're only gonna make it overflow the mag by 20% instead of 10% for primary weapons, not for special and heavy. And my brain goes, so you're only buffing a third of the perk because the perk fell off. Like, huh?
I mean, it doesn't really affect me because I use it on one grenade launcher from the grenade launcher from Duality, the Lingering Dread.
Yeah.
I have a Ambitious Assassin chill clip roll that I love, just because it gives me that extra shot in the mag. And I
Which
feel
is
like it would be a
dope.
little busted if I could have like 3 or 4 shots in there and just be like, boom, 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 boom.
Well, no,
But I
but
don't
like
use
if
it
it
in
gave
PvP.
you if it gave you like one more, especially for like special, like right now it only give you 2 for like a grenade launcher. But if it
Yep.
gave you like one more, it would actually make it worth as a perk compared to like Overflow, where it actually overflows your mag a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it actually would matter more, or like with auto loading holster and stuff like that, actually like be more beneficial to builds. So I find it a little weird that they're like, hey, we're gonna only buff a third of the perk. It just feels really weird, but I don't know.
Maybe they're worried if they make it too
Wellspring.
powerful, they'll then have to
Wellspring,
nerf it.
What was that?
Maybe they're worried if they buff that perk too much that next season people will start to complain and then they'll have to nerf it and it'll just undo the work that they did.
That makes sense.
Alright, yeah.
Wellspring.
Wellspring. I'm excited for this.
So
they took away the cooldown.
Yeah, they took away the cooldown for Wellspring, which is really dope. And they even like call it out in the twab, but they're like, hey, we're doing this so that way rocket launchers and grenade launchers actually get more from it, because once you got one kill, it would deactivate and have a cooldown. But now with the cooldown gone, say if you shoot your rocket launcher into a crowd of enemies, you actually get a significant amount of ability regen from that, which can be really cool if you actually want a rocket launcher with Wellspring.
Watch me do that and kill
And
myself
with
with the
to
enemies.
scout rifles. If you can get yourself a staccato, you want well-rounded and either incandescent or explosive payload, you will be set for next season.
What does that have to do with Wellspring?
Because you can get Wellspring on a staccato.
All right. I don't like Wellspring on primaries, but that's just me. Perpetual motion. This one feels weird. Where they're like, we're not nerfing it. We're just taking away the audio visual feedback of it, which I never noticed this. But because apparently with perpetual motion triggering as much as it does, because the perk literally activates if you move like a foot. So if like they're taking away the little audio visual feedback, but I never noticed it, so whatever.
That's fine.
They're fixing lead from gold. That way it actually works correctly if you're running 2 special weapons, which I find very cool.
They're also fixing Vice Stinger.
Yeah.
Vice Stinger.
Whatever.
So
that it no longer applies with a linear fusion rifle. And the only one it applied with was Rage Regret. So I'm interested to see how that affects DPS in raids. Because you have Storm Chaser, the GOAT, the new GOAT, and then you have Cataclysmic, and then Rage Regret. And
Very
each one
odd.
kind of has like its own thing. Because Storm Chaser's 3-round burst, Cataclysmic is craftable with enhanced perks, and then you can get adept. Well, you can get adept mods on that as well as the Reed's Regret, but it's easier to get a Reed's Regret adept through trials rather than running through Master Vow.
I just find it
Prismatic
weird
has
that they Master Vows kicking
I
pretty
got my
butt,
last
but-
challenge this week, and I'm not looking forward to it.
because it's the rogue
No, it's
challenge.
acquisition. It's the first encounter, which for some reason is the
acquisition?
one that kicks my butt.
Acquisition one.
I mean, it's that whole unstoppable
Well,
thing.
between
so
that
makes
and
sense.
match game and the extra champions, I'm just like,
And then
the
to
next
quickly
thing.
wrap up
Oh, go ahead,
weapon
Tom. I'll let you do it.
changes, Panda can take it away from here.
Oh, sure. Okay, I was gonna let you do it. All right. So Zen moment, like they're fixing the text on it because apparently the text has been messed up, and also particle repeater because it didn't actually say what the gun actually did. So that's cool. Here's
Now
the big
this
thing.
section,
Yeah, this is
next
big.
section, I have issues, and at the same time, I
Why you
love
got
it.
issues?
I'm sorry, I wanted to see other weapons get intrinsic anti-champion. There
I
are
mean,
other weapons higher on my list that
Like
I thought
what?
would be fun. Let's see, Skyburner's Oath for one. I wanted to get intrinsic unstoppable because I
I should have
want
got
that gun to see
anti-barrier.
more
I
love.
feel like it should have got anti-barrier, not unstoppable.
If anything should have gotten anti-barrier, it should have. Actually, you know what? You're right. We should have given that anti-barrier and then given Graviton Lance
Stop.
anti-unstop.
Yeah. But for
what
what
they
we
decided
got,
to do,
is pretty decent.
Malfeasance got a fat buff, and I'm here for it.
But like my problem with it is the unstop only works with the explosions.
Explosive.
It doesn't work with just the shot. That bugs me. Why doesn't the gun itself have intrinsic unstop? Why does it have to be the explosion?
Well, I mean, the Monarch they did the same thing where they gave it. The Monarch now has intrinsic overload when you fully charge and have a poison arrow ready.
Which that like if you're not fully pulling your bowstring
I was
back,
gonna say,
what are you doing?
am I the only
Like,
one that
that-
does
that's
that?
simple.
Like, this is not the first time this point has been brought up. Like, am I the weirdo here?
Right,
Yes.
like if you don't pull your bowstring back, I don't. That's why I like this and the Tiku's buff, where Tiku's explosions have, I believe it's an unstop or is it overload? No, like it doesn't
Tiku's
have.
got nothing. Tiku's got a buff to its draw time.
Oh, it didn't have like so. Tiku should have got the unstop. That's what I feel like because with that thing having the solar burn that it does, that I'm kind of glad it didn't because that leaves it open if they do put a bow mod back in the game to be accessible. But like same thing with Tiku's as with Le Monarch. Like if you're not pulling your bowstring back, regardless if you're ADS or if you're not for Tiku's because the Tiku perk. What are you doing with your bows? Are you just going flick, flick, flick? You need to pull your bowstring back, my guy. Like, what are you doing?
And then speaking of
Thunderlord.
bows, I want to get to Thunderlord on this. I want to get to the new Lord in a second.
Oh, the new Lord. Ugh.
The new Lord.
My poor
I want
little
to keep
wolf.
on. I want to keep on the bow train for a minute
Wishender.
and talk about Wishender getting
Yes.
intrinsic anti-barrier, and I'm here for it. Let that gun have some more time to shine. Gun.
My concern with that, though, is PvP. Because we've already seen this season that that people finally figured out that anti-barrier works against freaking whatchamacallit, barricades in Crucible. So what's gonna happen when not only can you see people through walls, but then you start just like beaming through barricades with anti-barrier bow? That's what I'm concerned.
Run, Titan, run.
I mean, they say they increase the number of hits versus most targets from 2 to 3. Most hits against vehicles, still 2 against players.
Yeah.
So it's still in PvP. It's still the only thing they changed in PvP is the draw time. It got 0.8 more. It got 8 seconds, 8 milliseconds faster.
It's very odd. Now, before I get to the new Lord, as Cole called it, What I'm surprised he isn't more excited about is that Legend of Acreus is getting a buff.
I was saving that. I wanted to wait. I wanted to be like, the Thunderlord's back, baby. Because
I mean, but like no, because y'all don't understand. Toll's been trying to bring Legend of Acreus into raids for so long, and we've been like,
I've
bro,
been doing it.
it's been dead.
I've been
Let it
doing
die.
it. No one notices me bring it in, except for
my
like the 3
God.
times people notice.
Like,
I do
I
it.
feel like I feel like Superman in Batman v Superman. I'm just like, Legend of Acreus is dead. Let it stay dead. Like, just let it happen. But Toll's like, no.
No, it's coming back, and they're giving
And,
it trench barrel.
and I'm the shotgun
exotic
guy, but I'm over
catalyst.
here telling you, put the shotgun down.
So I'm interested to see how trench barrel works with the Legend of Acreus, because
I
it's not
mean,
like fuck, what's that other shotgun that debuffs the boy?
tractor cannon.
Tractor cannon. Sorry, I completely spaced on tractor cannon. I love you, tractor cannon. You'll have a special
So
place in my heart, right
yes.
next to Legend of Acreus.
See, but my concern with it getting trench barrel is that people are going to be rolling into PvP or not PvP, PvE, and trying to pull box strats where they're just like, "Yo, we're gonna chuck a hammer at a boss, and then just start pumping freaking Legend of Acreus ammo into bosses," and I'm just like,
Right, but you could
bro,
still say you could put on tractor cannon and get the debuff. So now there are going to be 2 different styles of doing the bonk. The Legend of Acreus trench barrel, but the thing is, it'll be easier to do it with tractor cannon, because if you don't have the catalyst for Legend of Acreus, you don't get trench barrel. You have to have the catalyst done to have
right,
access to trench barrel. So there's still a little gap of you need to finish the catalyst to then get there.
right,
So I
and
still
then
think tractor cannon is going to be meta, but you might occasionally see a Legend of Acreus pop up.
every once in a while you might see it. The one thing that I really like is that they said they're fixing Callus Mini Tool to have the same airborne effectiveness as Mida Mini Tool, and then they're fixing the zoom of Mida Mini Tool to have the same zoom as Callus Mini Tool, and the same thing basically for Drang, where Drang gets the same airborne effectiveness as original Drang, and I'm like, all right, that's fair, I guess. Like, my thing is, why are we even having 2 different guns? Why aren't they just the same gun at this point? Like,
I don't
Back in
know.
my
Who
day, we
cares?
had this thing called the menagerie.
well, okay.
But to all you Titan crackheads out there who like to run a sweet business,
Oh,
because you're
God.
in luck, is getting an airborne effectiveness buff.
But yo,
Whatever that
hold
stat means.
Hold
Because I
up.
still don't understand that stat.
So basically, what happens, how airborne effectiveness works, is airborne effectiveness means how accurate your shot is when you're jumping in the air. Like, there was even a famous video clip of a dude using heat rises as a warlock and trying to snipe, and his bullet, like his arrow was right on the head, just like flew in the opposite direction, and like Bungie couldn't even explain it. It was just, hey, your airborne effectiveness stat is low, and they're like, huh?
Yeah,
So,
it makes airborne effectiveness makes no sense.
but now
And I
next
will
season we're
see-
getting it on the stat chart, which is actually
Right.
pretty cool.
Fighting Lion had a 5% buff.
I'm concerned.
It bugged out. It bugged out, and they couldn't put in the 5% buff. So now they're like, all right, cool, we're gonna make it an 8% buff.
I'm concerned.
Well, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see in PvP. They also increased the grace time for the reload effect of Thin the Herd to 6 seconds.
I'm concerned.
So you get 1 extra second.
Like I don't think you hear me. I'm concerned. Like, as
I
someone
know
who
you are,
actively
'cause
plays trials, that thing when someone actually knows how to use Fighting Lion is terrifying. So
it'll be
if they're gonna
interesting to see
buff
what
it,
happens.
I'm concerned.
It'll be interesting to see what happens.
And then before we move on to the rest of the reworks and have Prismatic bitch for a second, Toll's big champion moment is that Thunderlord is getting overload intrinsically.
Thunderlord is back. So the reason I love
it.
Thunderlord is it was just fun using it in D1. It was my favorite exotic. It has That's the exotic that holds a special place in my heart. Out of like all the exotics in the game, D1, D2, Thunderlord. Thunderlord, by far, I was so excited when they brought it back. So to see it getting more love, I will be here for that. And on top of that, fun fact, if you didn't know, if you have someone running a div, Thunderlord procs with div.
It does. So it technically can be kind of meta, but otherwise, if you don't have a divinity, Thunderlord relies on you actually being able to get all headshots with a machine gun. Let that sink in there for a second.
I mean, it's
now,
easy to do. You just have to know how to do it.
Anyway, from there we're moving on to the rest of the reworks, which that was me bitching about Lord of Wolves.
Prismatic.
But
Would you
the
like
one
to take it away? Talk about DMT.
Like, this isn't just a Prismatic bitch. This is me and Prismatic bitching. But I already had my like moment of like bitching, so I'm gonna let Prismatic like enjoy this. So Prismatic,
Not
how
enjoy
you
it,
feel?
but just get the spotlight.
I can keep my cool.
Right.
DMT is my baby. I think it's bullshit that they're touching the cranial spike perk. Fucking, if I work for my headshot,
Okay, but like,
give me my goddamn buff. Keep your grimy little hands off of it.
But like they're letting you keep the buff for PvE, but then they're like, "Yo, we'll basically give you a range of stability. What is it? Range stability, aim assist, and reload speed. So you basically get outlaw, perpetual motion, and a range buff all in one perk instead of damage buff. Instead of glorified rampage on headshots.
Anything.
That's why I'm interested to see what happens when you land those shots. Is the aim assist gonna go up to where Jade Rabbit is right now?
That would be cool if it did.
Jade Rabbit is sitting at an 80 aim assist stat.
Ugh, so gross.
Let that sink in.
So gross.
80. No other scout rifle is even close to that. So that's why people, even though the exotic perk doesn't work half the time, it's still a goated scout rifle just because that you can just aim and shoot and you'll probably get a headshot. And hey, you have a chance to get more damage on a headshot too.
I'm one of those people that goes for the headshot every time though. So I loved having cranial spike. Getting stacks of that for me was great. PvE, PvP, like before they nerfed it a while back, that was my go-to gun. I was going into Crucible with DMT and my regular Drang and just I'm not great, but I could put in the work.
Hey man, I still feel like you're gonna be okay. Like both of us who use DMT actively, I feel like we're gonna be okay. And also that they were like, "Yo, we want to give the hip fire cowboy rifle fantasy the way it's supposed to be by fixing it a little bit," which I can see. But I don't fully understand why get rid of the damage. Like, yeah, give it the reload and the aim assist. Like, that was the whole point of that was why you would get an outlaw roll if you wanted the outlaw roll. But like now they're just like, yo, we're gonna fix the perk to be more like a cowboy. Which,
I mean, I'm here for it. It opens up the door for other scout rifles and other guns to take its place.
Hipfire to me, like in my mind, is never going to connect with a rifle, and I don't think of Dead Man's Tale like as being with a cowboy vibe at all. If you want a good hipfire gun, leave it with Ace of Spades.
You just called the cowboy gun not a cowboy gun.
It doesn't look or feel like a cowboy gun to me.
What do you mean it doesn't look like a
what
cowboy gun?
I mean, it doesn't.
And it's made by Tex Mechanica.
It doesn't. We can have differences of opinions.
They are that weapon foundry is the cowboy gun weapon foundry.
That's why you get chaperone and last word.
That's fine if that's what the lore is. But
they
to
literally,
me,
I think they even did Sweet Business.
No, they didn't do Sweet Business.
They didn't?
No.
Thought they did.
And like if you look up like old school cowboy rifles, it legit looks like a cowboy rifle.
All right. Well, we can have differing opinions. You guys can move on.
It looks like an old Winchester rifle.
Hey man, that's the whole point of a podcast. It's supposed to have differing opinions. Like we're supposed to talk about it.
Yeah, but I'm one person versus you two.
Well, what do you think it looks like?
It doesn't give me a cowboy vibe at all.
I'm a cowboy.
Then what kind of vibes does it give you? Like a
Yeah. Hell, doesn't it even like do like
It's
a
a
whip
lever-
crack or a whistle when cranial spike activates?
It's got
I don't know. I know it's a
It's a
lever
whistle
action
sound.
rifle.
Yeah, like that. Huh?
just to me, it doesn't. If you had shown me that gun, it was never in a million years ring cowboy for me.
Really?
You just
I
create
find that
sticks mechanica.
I just really think that's interesting.
Yeah,
like,
like you're the first person to ever say that. That's why I'm like super like, huh?
That's why we're both confused because it's like,
Well,
oh, okay.
I'm also,
interesting.
once you get to know me, I am not the Western cowboy. Like, I know I grew up in the Southwest Satan's taint, but I am not a cowboy.
Satan's
I don't
taint.
want to be like, I'm from here. Like, anybody that knows me will know where I'm from. But, like, I have grown up in the Southwest, but I am not a cowboy, cowgirl, woo kind of person. So that gun to me did not and will not ever scream cowboy or Old West or anything like that.
I mean, fair enough. So
And to all you people out there who like collective obligation,
man, fuck collective obligation. Like, yo,
all two of you that
who like collective obligation, like Astrocross and like 5 other people. Yo, your collective obligation is getting reworked, and here's my big issue with collective obligation. As somebody who's a pulse rifle whore, the gun makes no sense. It is the first ever like raid exotic that has been so tied to an elemental like subclass rework, and it makes no sense. Why doesn't the gun have its own identity? Why is it so heavily tied to Void 3.0? Because if we ever change Void 3.0, if we ever get like a Void 4.0, the gun will have no relevance. The gun will have nothing. And yet for some, and like there's nothing in the raid besides darkness that tells you, oh, this is a void weapon. Like it could have been like another.
They literally could have made Lubre's Ruin the exotic.
Right, like you could have made Blueberries Ruin the exotic. You could have made collective obligation like the other Osteostriga, like poison type
Weapon of Sorrow,
like another Weapon of Sorrow or something like that. Like that would have been cool. But instead, we have this weird void pulse rifle that Bungie straight up goes, "Wow, no one wants this pulse rifle. Maybe we should do something about it." Because now they're like, "We're gonna change it to make it easier to make the perk easier to activate." They're taking away the cooldown for it. They're making Oh,
I was gonna say they should have just made it easier to get.
Right, because the drop rate's fucking horrible.
I think it's like what 1%.
They're adding a 20% damage bonus against PvE combatants while the Void Leech is active. You take less takes less hits to fully charge Void Leech, which is cool, but it doesn't do anything. Like it really doesn't.
I give Bungie credit for trying to make it something, because I think if I ever get this, I'm gonna try and make a build with it around my Bubble Titan, because I can proc Volatile, I can proc Over, and I can proc Overshield quickly. But other than that, it just doesn't. There's nothing.
I feel like Mean Girls. Like, stop trying to make fetch a thing.
Literally, I'd rather just go grind for an Eyes of Tomorrow, which I did, and I got.
And so did Prismatic. Y'all finally got Eyes of Tomorrow last week.
I think like 4 people got it before I did, but I got it eventually.
But you dedicated yourself to finally get that dang thing, and I'm proud of you for it.
Did you really post pictures of
then
these fucking rifles in here?
I'm gonna put some stuff in the Discord. And then Bungie flat out goes, "Hey, you know the thing that we should have did instead of nerfing Lord of Wolves? We're nerfing that too." And I'm like, okay. Why not leave Lord of Wolves alone? Like, because the main issue with the thing with Lord of Wolves and Omnioculus was that Omnioculus gave you too much damage resist when you would throw a smoke nade on yourself. And that was the issue. So when a hunter would walk up to you, pop out of invis and shoot you with Lord of Wolves, you don't have enough time to react because of the damage resist they have. Because when you try to shoot them back, they ain't got nothing. So you're sitting there just so super confused, not knowing what's going on. So what they should have done is left like left Lord of Wolves alone, or at least not nerf Lord of Wolves so much and just take away the 5 bullets that they wanted to take away, and then nerf Omnioculus the way they're doing, which I will give Bungie like kudos, because they're starting to learn that they have 2 different sandboxes finally, because they're like, yo, we're nerfing the fuck out of Omnioculus in PvP, but we're not nerfing it in PvE because it thrives in PvE. And I'm like, bravo. Bravo, Bungie.
Perfect.
You did a good thing. Good
Use
job.
your head there. Use your head there, Bungo.
And then they announced that they're looking into some other like things that they're going to be working on for a mid-season patch next season or for season 19. One thing is trying to reduce shotgun spread randomness, which good. We've been asking for that for years. They're looking into reducing bow swapping effectiveness, which for those who don't know, that's a strat where a lot of people will shoot you with a bow like Le Monarch and then pull out a 120 hand cannon and try to kill you in one shot. So they're trying to like stop that a little bit. They're
I'm
trying
interested to see what they do with trace rifle ease of use.
I'm excited about that a little bit, yeah.
I'm not sure what they mean by that.
Probably because like the beam is hard to control when you shoot it, so like they might be trying to make it easier to shoot, like the legendary and the wave splitter and the Prometheus lens and the other one, like trying to make them easier to shoot for people.
No, I want to jump down just a little bit and look at reworking some enhanced perks, because oh my god, if you actually start looking into because you have no idea what the enhanced perks do.
Yeah, the enhanced perks like barely do anything to like beyond what the regular
point
perk
out
does.
which ones are good and which ones are bad.
Yeah,
like dual loader
so,
on a shotgun, get that. That's 3 shells instead of 2.
Yeah.
Your reload will be super slow, but you can just put 1 shell in and you're done.
One thing that I'm nervous but also excited about is that they're finally going to make full auto a setting rather than a mod, because originally they're like, hey, we're going to give it to you as a mod first instead of a perk, because we're working on making it an accessibility feature. But my concern is if they take it away from anything beyond what they were originally doing, which was like scout rifles, pulse rifles, hand cannons, etc. Because the idea behind it is making an ease of use feature for people with disabilities or people who have like hand issues. But people are just going to abuse it in PvP regardless of if they have an issue or not. That bugs me. Like, I'm not saying we need to have like registration if you have a disability, but like it's gonna get really annoying. Like we already have that issue with peace of mind in PvP where people just strap full auto on it and it's a freaking lawnmower. So I'm just a little concerned.
And then the other thing I would be a little concerned about going off of that is folding spec mods into base perks.
I'm concerned about that because the idea about I'm concerned that Bungie is trying too hard to eliminate mods, or at least weapon mods, because things like boss spec, minor spec, major spec, or even adept big ones for adept weapons make the guns better. So why would you look into folding them into perks when they actually like what's the point of having a mod slot if we can't slot a mod? And that makes sense. Like, I don't understand what the thought process is there.
And then it's like I can have perks that boost my stability and range, and I can put a mod on to boost my damage, vice versa. I can put on a target acquisition mod, have damage perks, and now I can shoot easier.
So I'm just a little concerned about
which ones are they going to be folding in? It's total speculation right now. We won't know anything for at least a month and a half, depending on if they put it into the season 19 or season 18 mid patch.
Yeah, so it's a little concerning, and I'm just like, I'm excited for some of these changes, but I'm also concerned about others. I'll leave it there.
It'll be interesting to go into a private Crucible match, test some stuff out, see how things handle. The DMT changes are gonna be really interesting because until we get our hands on it, we won't know how because I don't think losing the damage numbers from Cranial Spike is gonna impact the gun, because now you're gonna, depending on how many stacks you get, you might be able to get better aim assist than Jade Rabbit. Granted, you got to hit your headshots to get it, but it might be a better option than Jade Rabbit.
Right. So there's potential there. I'm a little concerned is all.
Right.
So yeah, no, that was the twab. They did announce at the end of the twab that we are going to be seeing next week prior to the showcase, we're going to see a reveal of, or like at least like some information in regards to Arc 3.0, which I'm excited about because it tells me that Bungie's not being super cloak and dagger like they were with Solar 3.0. We might actually get a tease or a little bit of information about what's going on. So look out for that. And we will be back next week with a brand new episode where we actually sit down, talk about our end of the season like ideas and spoilers and whatnot. Not really spoilers, but like end of the season theories and what's going to happen for next season. So definitely
And you
look
get
out.
to hear all my theories for next season and beyond. I hope y'all are ready for that
I'm
because
concerned.
I've been thinking a lot about this story and where it could go.
I mean, it has put like the story's gonna be pretty cool. Like it isn't just your theories. I have theories too, Nick Flav. I bet Prismatic has some theories. Like it's a group effort.
Oh yeah, but I'm just trying to make
Yeah,
myself
but
the
see,
lore
I'm
guy.
an angst monster, so my theories tend to go real dark. I'm a
new Hunter
joy to
Vanguard.
roleplay with. Let me tell you.
Crow is the next Hunter Vanguard.
I don't believe it. I don't want it. And a brave for
Alright.
life.
Any last thoughts, you two, before we wrap this episode up?
Anna Bray is going to be the next Hunter Vanguard. I will have no slander.
Prismatic.
I was just gonna announce that coming up soon, we're gonna start trying to bring on guests to talk on the podcast as well. So if anybody who listens would be interested in that, just send us a message and we'll see what we can do. But that's something to look forward.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. It's gonna be awesome.
We love having guests on the show.
Yes.
We can't wait to share our first guest that we're going to be having on the show.
It's going to be very exciting. So definitely look out for that, folks. Don't forget, like we already talked about, you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible. All those great places. You can go to cosmodromeradio.com and click the About section and look up where your platform or choice is. On Spotify and Apple Podcasts specifically, you can rate us and help people find our podcast better. So make sure that you do that. We're gonna be working on some cool artwork soon. Maybe might make some merch. I don't know. It's a work in progress, but definitely look out for that. It's gonna be awesome. We're working on our first piece. That's gonna be our Twitter banner. So make sure you follow us on Twitter because we need more people following us on Twitter. So make sure you do that. We definitely want to start being a voice in the community and start being there for folks. So, and also just if you have like a question you want answered on the show, hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on TikTok. All of our information will soon be available on the Cosmodrome Radio website. So make sure that you look for that and just check us out. It's going to be amazing. And we will be back next week with a brand new episode for you folks. So make sure that you are tuned in. That's all I got. So make sure that you keep a level head. Pace yourself, Guardians. Pace yourselves, because like me and Toll have learned that if you do not pace yourself at the end of this season when you're getting ready for next season, you will burn yourself out.
Can't relate. I've been playing this game for 5 years.
So make sure that you're taking.
Take your time, take breaks. You don't have to get everything done all at once.
Oh, you don't have to grind everything out in a day?
That's the best way we could put it.
You still have 2 weeks before the raid. On top of that, you still have the week before the raid to get seasonal challenges done.
Yes.
And whatever.
We only have 3 days to get. We only have 3 days to get the seasonal challenges done. That's why people are stressed the hell out. But it's still pace yourselves. Yes, there's a lot to get ready for. If you want to do 24-hour race and see if you can get the emblem, cool. We understand. We're doing it too. Yep. But don't stress yourselves out. Pace yourself. That's the biggest thing. Just drink some water. Take care of yourself. It's gonna be all right. And we will catch you folks next week, folks. See you Starside.
Catch you later.